Hey, okay, we are here with Michelle Hernandez, and we're going to talk about her experience in the Prepared Performer Profits course. Yes, she's a total rock star as a rock star, pop star. Tell us, like, before I ask you any questions, tell us, like, about your business, because Michelle actually already had a coaching business before she started the course. So tell us about where your business was when you started.
Good. Okay. So my business on my own was very small. I was working for a couple of schools before. I had some clients doing that. It's a great way to, build some business and get a reputation for myself. But because I was spending a lot of time there, my private business was very small. So I only had, mostly Saturdays and then some random other days where I could fit people in. So I was already doing it, but it wasn't as consistent. There was not a lot of process because I had so few students doing my home business that I didn't really, it was easier to manage.
Right. Then
suddenly the place that I was working closed and I was able to take all my clients, which was a great opportunity because normally you're not supposed to do that. Normally that's a big no-no. But the whole reason that it worked out was because they weren't in business anymore and there was nowhere for them to go. So they had to come to me. So suddenly I had all of these students and no process.
So how were you feeling when you first heard about the idea of this course? What, at that point, because I can't remember when we first talked about this course, was the studio still open?
Yes.
Yeah, which is crazy, right?
Yeah, I know. So weird.
So I remember talking to you at Felix's a long time ago about feeling like, I want you to use your words, so you tell me how, but do you remember what you were saying about not having as many clients as you wanted and stuff like that?
Yes, and at that point I wasn't working at the music hall because that's when I just said the name, but you told me, that this place needed a teacher, and I said, sweet, because I have lots of time.
Okay, yeah.
And at that point, so then I was teaching multiple days a week, but because I had so few clients, I would teach one here and one there and one the other place, and it felt like I was always running around for just a handful of clients. Mm-hmm. So finding ways to draw them into my business was always tough. I'd been around for a couple of years, but before that I was touring a little bit. So I didn't have, roots here. People hadn't really heard about me yet. Before that I went to
like a cruise ship rock star too, has done loads of stuff on tour with her band.
And before that I went to school in New York. So I didn't have a ton of people still here that I could consider part of my community to feed, clients or to feed information or to just even, say that they knew who I was. So eventually, and I was talking to you too about, I was trying to reach out to some schools and, trying to figure out, how I could get in there or, trying to get into just even a class at local schools that I knew existed. But it was very difficult for me without really a reputation and without much process to get in,
Right. Awesome. So when you heard about the course, how did that make you feel? Like, what was it that made you excited about doing it? Or what about the information that you received about the course made you excited about it?
Yeah, when you said, I'm putting together a course about business. It's not for teaching. It's about business though. And I said, great, because everybody needs that. And I need that. I think that's something that I need. It's something that I want. It's something that I want to do. Let's do it right away. Super stoked about it right away. Yeah, exactly. No, I knew it was exactly what I needed. I knew what you do and how you do it so well. And for me, I just wanted a piece of that. That sounded like exactly what I needed to get me going in the.
That was like the piece of your puzzle that was missing, was the business and the processes.
Absolutely, yeah. And then you talk about how to get the clients in the first place. Like I said, even that that one little tiny $1 ad that I put on Google AdWords, someone went to my website. So
which is so awesome, right?
Awesome and random. And I don't know if they'll ever come back, but at least there was traffic being driven there,
Okay, yeah. The Google AdWords thing is so crazy too. So that's really awesome.
I know. And again, I knew those things existed, but I didn't know how to utilize them myself.
So even just like the little bit we did touch on that in the course was helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Because I feel like it's such an overwhelming beast. So I'm glad that I could bring a little bit of
yeah. What you did was perfect. What you did, we figured out exactly how to get started there.
That's awesome.
Once you go on from there, you just kind of figure it out or, ask people or do a Google search.
Hello. There's a really awesome video. I don't think I've ever sent it to you, but it's called Figure It Out.
I know. When people don't know how to do things, I'm always like, don't you know how to use Google?
I know. But it's but also I think like, especially in stuff like this, which most,
it's so overwhelming.
It's super overwhelming. And as performers, we're not given any empowerment in that place in our life.
Definitely. Well, that's why I liked the idea of this. And then when I did it, I liked the fact that everything was just kind of step by step. This is what we're doing right now. This is how you do it. Now go do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Hooray. That's good. Okay. And what's the biggest change that you've seen in your business since taking the course? Yeah.
Let's see. So, and the funny thing is too, a lot of these things were kind of going hand in hand with coming off of the music hall too.
Right.
So, working at a place that was an establishment that had rules and things like that, I kind of also learned how to put them into play for myself. But it's different when you have someone working with you and someone who can be like, no, client, that's not the rules. And then when you're doing it yourself, Yeah. So it was kind of great that I was coming off hand in hand off of this other place, because I knew that these things existed, and taking the course really just kind of helped me do it myself and empower me to not go back, not go back to, okay, maybe I guess, you can pay me later, or maybe we can work out something, and just, set the rules, say, these are the rules. This is what everybody does. And that's how we do it.
Yeah. Hey, that just made me think too. Have you been tempted, since the music hall closed?
Yeah.
Have you been tempted to search out other studios to teach there?
No, I haven't. Yeah.
I remember talking to you about that when we saw Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, because I was listening to a podcast yesterday that I want to share with everybody too, because it was really great, about a filmmaker, or a guy who graduated from film school and then started working at the Apple store, and then realized all of a sudden that he actually could run a business.
Yeah.
Skills. But that sometimes when things get scary, or the work that we have to do on our own is a little overwhelming. Like, the idea would pop into his head as, you don't actually have to do this. You could have like the freelance side of it, where you don't know if someone could cancel, everyone could cancel this week. And
yes, absolutely. And then you make money this week.
Mm-hmm. So like the consistency of a paycheck sometimes would be like a safe idea for him.
Yeah.
And the need to realize, like, no, I have faith, and this is actually the way that I want to be going,
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, let me show you my process when that happened, because the music hall was kind of in limbo for a while, and I didn't know if it was going to keep going or not. And I was looking for spaces. I was calling leasing agents. I was like going to the places and looking in the windows because they wouldn't give me the key. I'd say, hey, is there a code to the lockbox? And sometimes they would just not answer, and sometimes they would give me the code and the key wouldn't be in there. So, I was really trying to keep this thing going. And it was because I saw...
Wait, just so that everybody understands, she's talking about moving the studio that she was working at into another space.
Yes.
So not starting her own studio in one of these spaces, but actually moving the studio that she worked for, because they lost their lease.
Yeah, and there was a lot of potential there. We had a recording studio, we had our talent agent's license. I mean, there was a lot of things to offer there. I know.
About that whole thing.
I know. I can probably still get the passwords.
Yeah, that would be the thing that would set you apart from other people.
But the thing is, I was still making 50% of the commission, and I wasn't being paid extra to do all this work. I just saw potential for growth in the future. I did see potential for, possible franchising and merchandising and things that I could be making ancillary revenue off of that wasn't just about teaching, which I thought was great, but it was also overwhelming, and I think that was a lot of the reason that my processes never got in line, because I was trying to do too much too soon, instead of just focusing on the one or two things that I needed to get clear. So anyway, what was your question?
The fear of when the
yes. Okay.
The comfort of the consistency comes to mind.
I thought it was still going to keep happening. And, it was a month or a half a month went by, and I only made like 10% of what I was used to making for the 2-week period. Then the next month went by, and I made, again, 10% of what I was used to making for that month. Mm-hmm. And I had, thankfully, because when you're an independent contractor, you have other, revenue coming in.
Right. Which is
I had some other things, and but I started, and I had some savings because I was able to save. But, I was starting to kind of dig through that. And, after the holidays too, you kind of just go, so at a certain point, and then when she said, okay, we're not reopening, we can't figure out something that everybody's happy with, part of me was like, well, maybe I have to go work at Home Depot now. you know, and I was like, oh my God, I want to die. And not that that's a bad thing, but I haven't done that for so long. It felt like it was going to be just a terrible thing. And then it wouldn't give me the availability that I needed to be where I need to be here for my business.
Right.
So thankfully your course came at the right time, you know, and just kind of, like I said, back to me. And like I said, then thankfully all these students just kind of dropped in my lap, and some of them didn't follow, you know, that's always going to happen, but enough of them did where, you know, with what, you know, what you've taught and with what I have from there, I was able to, you know, still continue to make money, if not more money and more potential, and with a, you know, a little bit more free time, because now I don't have to look for a space to move into.
Yeah. And you're actually making all of the money that you're charging.
Yes, right. Exactly.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you too about this space. So there's like a whole section in the course about the millions of opportunities there are to be able to teach, to run your own business, because I think that's something that freaks a lot of people out.
It does.
Which I know we had talked about a long time ago as well, because of like not knowing if you felt comfortable where you were teaching, but now you have this like gorgeous studio in your house.
Yeah, it's a good space.
Is it in your garage? Where is it?
It is a random back room that the previous owners made. I know it's
okay.
I know. So it's attached to the house, but you can't get into it through the house. So you have to go through the backyard.
Because it has its own door.
Exactly. Well, then that's the other thing that, and now I'm kind of jumping ahead, but eventually we do have a side, like back door area, or not back door, but like a gate. And right now we're just kind of putting stuff there, but eventually I'd like to clean up that space and kind of make it a waiting space.
So when people come into your studio, do they go through your house?
They go through my house. Yeah. So typically what I do with that is, I've told them, especially the ones that weren't used to it, the new ones that have been coming from the other space, I said, you know, I do schedule my students back to back, come on time, and I will meet you at the door as I'm walking out my last student.
That's great. Because that's something too so for people who don't know, I was teaching in the middle of my living room for a long time. And I think sometimes I'd feel a little, you know, I don't even know how I started making that transition from the studio where I was renting space. And then all of a sudden I think maybe they didn't have space there. So that's why I did it the first time. And I was like, well, let's just try it here. And it was literally like all my initial lesson videos too are all in the middle of my living room, because that's where our piano was.
Yeah.
And, but I always had to make sure that the kitchen was clean. Like, you know, it was kind of awkward because they'd have to walk through our whole atrium, and I have kids, so there's like, you know, all of this. But when I made the choice, we actually randomly have a room that has an outdoor entrance as well, you know, awesome. And then I just used Japanese folding screens to partition it off.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So that they don't see anything else. They just come straight in like that. And I've created like a little fake waiting room. But
that's really great.
I mean, I created it with folding screens. So like you can totally do that though on the side entrance. If you eventually. And have like backstage copy, you know, whatever, have magazines.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking of doing. Mm-hmm.
But I'm always careful to say I have a lesson right before you, so I'll leave the door open. You can come in and sit in the little lobby area if you get here early. But I love the idea of I'll come out and get you, because
yeah, well, and then even if I don't have a client, you know, sometimes I'm showering because I squeezed in the gym, you know, sometimes, and they, you know, they come 5 minutes early. I've planned to get ready up until the time that they get there. And maybe that's my bad, you know, but I also
but that's and I get very protective over those couple of minutes before the
lesson. Me too, because then, you know, they just keep inching those couple of minutes, and then they're devaluing your time.
And I'm sure they aren't even thinking about it. Like
they are. No,
my lessons in New York were in Andrew's apartment as well, and I don't think I've ever told him this, but sometimes I get downstairs because you have to buzz in to get up to the apartment.
Yeah.
I'd be like on the street waiting until the exact minute that it's my turn to come in, because I feel like I didn't want to be weird.
Yeah. No, definitely. One of my struggles moving into my space, and like I said, I haven't, you know, made my processes firm yet. I haven't, you know, put a lot of things out there on social media yet. And actually I had made a Facebook page for my lessons businesses a long time ago, and I was like just dumping material on it just to make it look like I've been, you know, putting things there without actually inviting anyone to it, just to kind of give it some kind of personality and where I was going. And I recently opened it up. I haven't done a lot of work on it, but you know, things like, you know, just like I said, adding value to your work, you know, putting videos, showing people what you do, you know, instructional videos. That's something that I've been wanting to do, but haven't actually done yet. And I think if I had done that before the music hall closed and before the people came in, it would have added more value. And it's funny because I had people say, you know, we don't know what's going on, but we'll follow you anywhere. We love you. You're our teacher. I mean, verbatim, this is what they told me. And then as soon as I told them that I was going to be at my house, some of them were like, I don't know, and it was very difficult to convince some of them that you're still getting the same thing. We're just in a different room.
Especially the fact that the music hall was so fancy.
It was so cool. Yeah, it was so fancy.
You call it your studio? Because like I say, sometimes I'll say home studio, but I call it like my performance power studio. So.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, giving it a name.
I don't give them my home address until later.
Yeah, I was doing that too. I was, just kind of withholding it. I did say my home studio to try and add studio to it, but I think I'm going to just start saying my studio.
Especially with a separate entrance like that. And it's like set up really nicely.
Yeah, thank you. I still want to get in there, and because before it was being used for it is still used for a couple of different things. We use it for band rehearsals. Nick, my boyfriend.
That's what it should be used for. That's like an extra bonus, right?
I try to keep it always looking like a stage space. We have our curtains up. I have to try to have the microphone and the PA set up all the time.
Okay, you posted one picture after the OSHA audition thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck? That's amazing.
I know.
So what I would say, like when I first set this up, I recorded a video, a little tour of it.
Yes, that's a good idea.
So I just have like a link to thepreparedperformer.com / I think it's Studio Scope. And it's
great.
Oh, we're opening our new studio. But you could so easily, like without any fancy quality, you could also do it fancy. But just like your phone, just be like, hey guys, I just wanted to show you, this is our studio. This is where we teach. This is where everything happens.
That way that takes the mystery out. People see that it is, even though they're used to coming from, again, not that, because I used to teach in my living room too before, we cleaned up the space back there. But, before, and that's the other thing too. I always took from people in their living room.
Me too.
I don't think I ever took from someone at an actual studio.
Well, one person I took from in a church.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what? I got fired from her as a student when I was.
Oh my God, why?
I am like the most overachiever, crazy, like goody good, and she fired me.
And she was like, "Listen, I can't handle it."
That's okay. She was like some crazy classical voice teacher, and
she wasn't the right one for you.
She was like, "You're overbooked and not committing to this," and I said, "You're right."
Oh, well, there you go. Well. So no, that's a good point. But okay, so we've talked a lot about my studio. I also want to make a point, because we're talking to other people here, that that I did used to teach in my studio. And what I'm telling people, the ones that are a little more apprehensive about coming to my home after being at a place like that is, it's very common. I said, all of my life I've taken from people, in high school, I took from a woman in her condo. And before that, I took from, a woman in her old house, and before that, or after that, I took from someone in New York in their living room,
Also, it's a space that's dedicated specifically towards your vocal students or acting students. Because when I taught at the music hall for that one day, I had to bring so much stuff with me that I have here the tools are all set up. It's actually much more beneficial, I think.
I have everything that I need right here to teach you effectively.
And everything that you need.
Yes, everything that you need. That's good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, so I am working one day a week at the OC Hip Factory.
The video you have from there is amazing.
Yeah, it looks great. Yeah, the video is great. He did it on his phone. He had nice light.
Really good.
And the place looks really good. The white's really nice for complexion and all of that. But yeah, we did have light. And it looks good, so that's again, one reason why, it is valuable to work with some people sometimes, because even though he takes a commission, I think that, he's good at putting together a nice package. I think, but I've only given him one day because I don't know where that's going to go, and I'd rather spend.
You want to make sure when you are working for a studio like that you're leveraging everything that you're getting from that.
Exactly.
That situation, that you might not be making as much money, but you might have access to space. You might have access to a fancy video or publicity and stuff like that. So make sure you're not just taking a cut, but you're actually using everything that you can.
Exactly. And that was the problem that I had before working with studios like that, but, and they were charging less hourly. So I was making less hourly. It did work when you can sit down in one place and make more students right away because they're advertising. Then you also have to ask, are they doing the advertising? Are they getting you the clients? Is there ancillary revenue to be made? Am I going to be part of something else that they're selling? Are they focusing on my business? If they're not focusing on your business,
are you having to do extra work to help them keep their stuff together?
Exactly.
And the music hall is awesome, but I think there's also times where I wind up getting into like the drama of and of like fixing the studio, like with the space.
Yeah, exactly.
To find that space, but you believed in the entity that was there.
Mm-hmm. And that's again, and going back to the course, I think it's a reason why it was there were, you know, especially the affirmations and all the things at the beginning, you know, obviously I already have my business that I'm doing, but, and it's not that I need to figure out what I could sell, but just, you know, reminding myself that, you know, I need to focus on me before I can fix other things. Mm-hmm. So I need to do this first and get my business rolling and fix the things that I need to fix here before I can help anyone else's business.
Totally. You can be in a better position to help other people as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It doesn't come from like a selfish place of I need to charge more money because I need to make more money, but it's like I'm a crazy person right now because I'm working so many jobs and I'm not doing the best that I could be for you.
And that's something I'm still learning. You know, I'm naturally a helpful person, and even, you know, I have this, right? So I have this the entertainment business that we market the band through, you know, which eventually would like to be, you know, to market other acts as well. Yeah. So, you know, and that's obviously something that I'm very involved with, you know, whether or not it's our business or just Nick's business, where, you know, it's up for debate, but, you know, it is something that I'm very involved with and could be considered mine, right. But it's not mine necessarily, you know, it's, and sometimes I think I get too involved trying to help with that. Like even last night, Nick put something in front of me and I was like, oh, sure, let me do that for you, when I should have been doing something else that was in front of me. And I was like, well, why not? Yes, let me, because I'm a helpful person. So I think just
that's like so hugely important and has been so big for me with doing this course, because there's so much that I had to put into it, and I had to make sure that I knew what my priorities were.
Exactly. And reminding myself of those things and putting it in front of me, you know,
and asking yourself the question so that you know what is the top priority, because I feel like that's half the problem, is that we haven't even decided what the top priority is.
Yes, absolutely. It all turns into there's so much in front of you and then it just goes, whoa.
Yeah. I also would love to know, what do you think was missing from the course? Like, what would you have liked to have had in there?
I think just the one thing that I would have liked is maybe in advance showing me how long it's supposed to take, you know?
Ooh,
like this should take you 30 minutes. This should take you an hour.
That's an awesome idea.
You know, because some exercises.
Good one, dude. I'm actually going to write that down also.
Because I think I got stuck on the first act, you know, for a long time. Because
that video was way longer than everything else also, which will not be like that, because I was like, going to do it too.
Because I was like, if everything is that long, I don't have any time to do that tonight, you know? If I had known that it was going to take me 20 minutes, then I would have just done it. But the first video was a little long. And I think also I was going to say, if I had known, okay, this one's very long, but the rest of the, like the next one's going to be 30 minutes. The next one's going to be 10 minutes. The next one, like the homework should take you 5 seconds, you know?
And I think you also said to add like some sort of video at the beginning that tells people to pull the homework up while you're watching the video.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot that you can do while you're watching it.
Yes. Cause what I was doing is I was taking my notes, in my OneNote, and then I was doing the homework and I was like, well, this is exactly the same thing that I wrote down, you know? So, and even though that was a good way and I have my notes forever and ever and ever, and they're beautiful, but I also felt like if I was in trouble, I could have been doing it a lot more efficiently.
Okay. Do you think, because I ended up setting it up so that I could send an email with your notes on there, but do you think it would be a good idea to have your note, like your homework, sent back to you in like a PDF?
Yes.
Okay. That's because I could have it would take me a long time, but that's something I could have my VA do for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, cause I have a spreadsheet of everybody's stuff. So each week I could like send her everything and have her put it into a PDF to send it back.
Would there be a way to save that document before you submit it as a PDF? Because then that would be less work for you.
Yeah. Or, I mean, people could just screenshot it, but.
Yeah. But if it gets long, like I know I had some long answers and it would
true.
fit on the whole.
I don't know. Did you ever get emails that were your answers?
I did. Yeah. Okay, but then they're just kind of text too. So I wasn't sure.
Weird. That's a good idea. Save. I'm going to Google it.
I love it. Well, there must be a way in some program, because I don't know if you submitted anybody's OSHA applications this year, but
actually everybody did it themselves.
Oh, good. I've had one every year. I mean, I've only been doing it for 2 years, but the one that I did this year, they've changed the formatting. It's still written with problems and all funky and crazy, but you can, you fill in everything. It's more forms this time as opposed to before where it was, I don't know, I forget what it was before, but it was very primitive. It's a little fancier looking now and a little bit more technically sound, I suppose. But at the end where it says, you can review your answers, and then there's a button for save as a PDF before you submit.
Cool.
And I did that so that way I could look at it first so I could see exactly what I was submitting.
Were you using Google Forms on there?
I don't know what it was. It was
I
there.
don't have to use Google Forms. I just know how to do it. So that's
yeah.
That's a great idea. Also, the quiz part at the end, I'm not doing because that was totally messed up. The quizzes were like weird. So
I see why they're weird because like you said, there's no wrong answer, and then they tell you that you're wrong.
I checked. There's not a way to turn that off. So
there's not a way. Okay.
Yeah,
I like the way that you did it because you don't want people to jump ahead, which makes sense. Yeah,
so I'm just gonna say, did you finish the homework? And don't lie.
Oh, that's good. That's smart. That's a good way to do that. Yeah. Well, especially because again, like we said, we just took the homework and that kind of covered all of that.
Right. Did you think like systems wise or for lack of a better term, technique wise, was there anything else that you would have liked?
No, I think it was good. I think if like I said, the main thing was I think if I knew how long each was going to take me, then I could have scheduled it better into my calendar. And then that would have helped me be more efficient with my use of the course.
Yeah.
No, I think not really.
Yes, thank you. Because I think there was several people there are several people who paid for the course and have not finished it. And 2 weeks after it was supposed to be done, and but they are like, oh, I'm just overwhelmed, or
Yeah,
so I have a couple of different ideas about accountability next time, but that's really awesome. I love that idea.
Yeah, I think if I can schedule it into my calendar that week, and I know that I can see that this is 30 minutes, this is 45 minutes, this is an hour and a half, then I can put those blocks in, and it's going to take everybody different amounts of time. But if there's an estimate, then I can at least manage it a little bit better. Just one little housekeeping thing that I was noticing, and I didn't really notice that it would be a good feedback until last night. The trumpet noise is a little bit loud.
Okay.
So when I have my earphones on, I'm like,
okay, you know what? And maybe you can come over here and help me, or Nick.
I can, yeah.
My husband. That part of it's fine. My problem is my microphone. Like as you get into the later ones, when I started using my microphone,
it's very
low.
Oh, it's low. Okay.
So I can't. So I have it turned up like all the way crazy land, but then balancing it, like I have to. And I did try to adjust the two.
Yeah.
But that's not my forte. That kind of stuff.
Sure.
So,
your voice doesn't necessarily sound super loud. It's just the and maybe it's just the pitch of where they sit, and the timbre, but but I know, right? But yeah, that was just one little thing where it wasn't a big deal. But every time I put my earphones in, I was like,
do you think that like helps branding wise, or do you feel like I should not even use it?
It's cute. Yeah, I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't know. I just turn that down. It's too loud, Molly.
Yeah. But I think a big part of that is because my mic, like I started using the nicer mic, and then it's so quiet. I can't.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because if I'm far away from it, it doesn't pick up any. At one point, I was doing a video and someone was like installing a doorbell on our front door, and I was like, "That's so loud," and you could not hear it on the microphone at all.
Oh, that's great.
But I want you to hear my voice, so
that's true. No. And let me go back and listen to the earlier ones too and see if it's the same. And part of it also is because, I do use different volumes for my computer because I use it to teach. But even when I felt like I would have it at a good, because I'd be like watching a TV show or something, and it would be at a good volume, and then I'd put the earphones in and it would be like, ah! So,
well, you know what? That's like the music I use for everything on my like public videos. Maybe I can come up with one that's specifically for Prepared Performer Profits, because there's going to be so many videos that's not as jarring because and that establishes like a different brand for this. That's more like come in and learn how to make more money instead of.
I like that idea. It's cute. It's short. It's not long. It's I think I like it.
Okay, cool. That's really funny. I love it. Amazing. Thank you so much for all of your feedback.
Yes, thank you. It was awesome.
Yeah. And because I know you still have a little, like one more unit to do.
Yeah, one more little act.
I would love to know like how it has affected things for you.
Absolutely.
And especially how it's given you more time and how it's given you more money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Time, money are both things that I enjoy and would like more of, and I'm excited to have them.
I like it. All right, I'm going to stop this recording.
All right.
Yay!